Dear all, dear participants, ladies and gentlemen, it's my great pleasure to welcome you all to Sweden and to Scandinavia Expo and this conference on preventing and combating the smuggling of weapons. At this conference, you will discuss possible measures to strengthen customs, cooperation and harvest the experience after the Balkan Wars in order to reduce, if possible, the risk of illegal inflow of weapons as a result of the Russian war of aggression against Ukraine. Sweden has taken over the presidency of the Council of the European Union in a time of enormous challenges. This calls for resolve. At both the informal meeting of Justice and Home Affairs Ministers here at Scandinavian Expo just a couple of weeks ago, as well as during my hearing in the Libe Committee of the European Parliament the following week, I outlined the main Swedish priorities for the presidency in the area of justice and home affairs. And they are, firstly, the fight against organized crime, and secondly, managing the consequences of the illegal Russian invasion of Ukraine. And the issue of illegal trafficking of firearms is connected to both of these overarching priorities. In this light, firearms trafficking is an issue of critical importance for the Union. Russia's military aggression against Ukraine marks, of course, a new and very dark chapter in European history and a new geopolitical reality. The war means horrible suffering for the Ukrainian people. To us, it means an obligation and a responsibility to support Ukraine for as long as it takes. It also means an economic recession and skyrocketing energy prices that are affecting families and businesses across our continent. The Russian war of aggression against Ukraine has also put the spotlight on the connection between internal and external security. It is becoming increasingly clear to us all how addressing security challenges in third countries is important, I would say critical, to EU internal security. Trafficking in firearms, the subject of this conference, is a case in point. There is a distinct risk that the end of the war in Ukraine will lead to an inflow of illegal arms into the EU. Firearms from Western Balkans still pose a problem to European law enforcement, more than 20 years after the conflict. We should learn from this, and we should cooperate more closely to address all these risks. In this way, the fight against illegal arms trafficking is a part of our fight against organized crime. One of the main drivers behind organized crime is, of course, money. And therefore, law enforcement authorities need to follow that money and target criminal proceeds in order to successfully combat organized crime. Connected to the issue of organized crime is the illicit trafficking of narcotics and the conflicts between and within criminal actors that it gives rise to. And we experience that very much so in Sweden right now at the same time as we have this very conference. The smuggling of drugs is a challenge that many European countries share. We need to be better equipped to confront rapidly evolving and increasingly complex drug-related challenges. We should learn from another and cooperate cross borders to respond to these challenges. Illegal firearms originate from within the EU, but also from weapon stocks outside the Union. We know this thanks to work carried out by many, and I should like to thank Europol in particular. I read a recent study from the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime, And this study shows that the traditional closed character of the illicit firearms market in the EU is eroding due to continuing cross-border smuggling of firearms into the EU from post-conflict countries. The same study also shows most firearms seizures are made within national territories. Seizures at borders on average account for less than 10% of all interceptions. 10%, the results of the work that you will carry out over the coming 2 days will hopefully contribute to raise that number. Various types of firearms have become more easily available for criminals, including terrorists with the right criminal connections. This calls for joint action. Now, customs is the gatekeeper of our borders and is responsible for the control of goods that is flowing in and out of our countries. That, in combination with your expertise regarding the logistical chain, makes the work that you all are carrying out crucial for the safety and security of our citizens. Our hope is that this conference will contribute to greater understanding and effort, and that additional measures for enhanced customs cooperation and cooperation with other law enforcement authorities can be developed. I began my speech by stating that the issue of illegal trafficking in firearms is connected to both key priorities of the Swedish presidency in the area of justice and home affairs. That is, the fight against organized crime and managing the consequences of the illegal Russian invasion of Ukraine. In the end, that is about defending our free and open society. And every important value or political principle ultimately rests on untiring day-to-day work. And your important day-to-day work is essential to safeguard that freedom and that openness that the European Union was founded to secure. Once again, a warm welcome to Stockholm. I wish you fruitful and interesting discussions during these 2 days. Thank you.